Welcome back, students. In this section, we are considering the formation of rainbow. How a rainbow is formed. All we know that just after the rain, in the opposite direction of sun, normally the colorful rainbow is possible to observe. And how this colorful rainbow is formed. In order to explain the formation of this rainbow, we have to consider the atmosphere. In the atmospheric layer, just after the rain, millions of small or tiny water droplets are present. With the naked eye, it is not possible to visualize, but very small drops of water remains in the atmosphere just after the rain. And each and every these kind of water droplets acts like a small prism, or these tiny water droplets behaves like a prism. And all we know that whenever a white light or a ray of white light or a beam of white light is passed through this kind of a prism, whether it is a glass prism or this kind of a water droplet prism, what happens? Refraction takes place, and as an extension of that refraction, most of the time these light rays undergoes dispersion also. What is dispersion? That is already we mentioned in the previous class. That means when light travels through a transparent medium, it splits up into its 7 component color. That particular process or that phenomenon is known as dispersion of white light. And we obtain the spectrum of white light, that is 7 colored segment, Vibgyor segment we are obtaining. The same Vibgyor is available in the rainbow also. Then these water droplets behaves like small prism, and as a result of that one, this white light or these rays of white light undergoes the important phenomenon of rainbow formation, dispersion. So the basic and important phenomenon behind the formation of rainbow is dispersion of white light. That is a major and important phenomenon behind the formation of rainbow. That is dispersion of light. Along with this dispersion, we have to consider some other process. Then only we can explain the complete process of formation of rainbow. Okay, anyhow, the major process or the important process behind the formation of rainbow is dispersion. And if we consider a single water droplets alone, then that we can consider similar to a prism. Then in the formation of this rainbow, we have to consider the process such as refraction along with the dispersion. Then we have to consider one more process, that is internal reflection, and again that light rays undergoes refraction. So these are the steps in an order in the formation of a rainbow. That means we have to consider a water droplet and a white light, a ray of white light which is entering into that water droplet. And that light ray should undergoes step by step these process, that is the light ray undergoes first refraction along with the dispersion, then it undergoes total internal reflection or simply internal reflection, then it again undergoes refraction and emerges out as the spectrum of white light or 7 colored segment. That is the step by step process in the formation of rainbow. Okay, next we can consider that processes one by one. So we are considering a single droplet. These kind of millions of droplets are available, but for the explanation now we are considering a single water droplet in an enlarged manner and considering a single white light ray. When that white light ray enters into this water droplet, it is from air to water. So there is one type of transparent medium to another type of transparent medium, and surely that undergoes a refraction. As a result of that refraction, the path of that light ray undergoes a deviation or a bending, and this kind of a particular situation, that means for certain angle of incidence to that water droplet, along with this refraction, that light rays undergoes dispersion or splitting into its 7 component colors. And after obtaining these 7 colored segment or that spectrum of white light, now that 7 segment of light passing through the water droplet, then it reaches to the other side of that water droplet or the boundary between that water droplet and air. Normally we are expecting again the refraction process and the 7 colored segment emerges out. But here comes the another phenomenon, that is internal reflection or total internal reflection. In order to take place an internal reflection or total internal reflection, two conditions must be satisfied. One is, in order to take place the internal reflection, the light ray must travel from a denser medium to rarer medium. Not only that one more condition it should be satisfied, that is the angle of incidence. In order to take place an internal reflection, the angle of incidence must be greater than a particular angle. That angle varies depending upon the nature of that medium. That is, if we consider water and air, then there will be a particular angle. That angle is known as critical angle. And the critical angle for water air pair is not the same as for water and glass. That the angle of that critical angle depends upon the nature of that media. Okay. Anyhow, the angle of incidence should exceed a particular value, and that is known as the critical angle for that particular situation. Whenever these two conditions are satisfying, then instead of the refraction, the light ray undergoes reflection. Even if these two medias are transparent one, instead of happening this refraction, that light ray undergoes a reflection, that is known as the internal reflection or total internal reflection. The two conditions should be satisfied in order to take place an internal reflection is, the light ray should travel from a denser medium to rarer medium, and also the angle of incidence exceeds a critical angle. Here in this diagram, just we can consider initially the light ray is moving from water to air, then an angle of incidence is considered. Then in that situation what happens, that light ray undergoes a refraction or bending. Whenever the light ray is moving from a denser medium to rarer medium, it what happens, it bend away from the normal. Then again if you are increasing the angle of incidence, what happens, again it is bent away from the normal, and that angle of incidence reaches a particular value, what happens, that refracted light ray moves through the boundary between that two pair of media. Whenever the angle of incidence reaches a particular value, that refracted light ray moves parallel to the boundary or moves along with the boundary between that two media. And again if we are increasing the angle of incidence, what happens, instead of that bending or refraction, that light ray bounces back to the same medium, that is reflection takes place. That phenomenon is known as internal reflection or total internal reflection. Okay. This kind of total internal reflection takes place from the other surface of this water droplet. From the first surface, the light ray undergoes refraction along with the dispersion, and that 7 colored segment reaches to the second surface. Instead of refraction, it undergoes internal reflection, then reaches to the other side of this water drop. Then from that side, again these 7 colored segment undergoes refraction and emerges out from that water droplet. Now, an observer standing facing to that particular water droplet can see these kind of 7 colored segment. That's why always it is possible to observe the rainbow just opposite direction of sun. Only it is possible to visualize the rainbow opposite direction of the sun, because the light ray enter into that water droplet, it undergoes refraction along with the dispersion, then it undergoes internal reflection, and after that again it undergoes refraction and emerges out as this 7 colored segment. This is the step by step process in the formation of a rainbow. This kind of process takes place in each and every water droplet present in the atmosphere, and the observer is possible to observe for a particular angle of view. That's why always we are possible to observe that rainbow as in the shape of an bow. That means a curved shape it is possible to observe. And you have to keep in mind that the basic phenomenon behind the formation of rainbow is dispersion of white light, Then the step by step process is the light ray. When a white light entering into a water droplet present in the atmosphere, it undergoes refraction along with dispersion. Then it undergoes total internal reflection. Then again undergoes refraction and emerges out as the 7-colored segment. That is the step by step process of this formation of rainbow. The important phenomenon behind the formation is dispersion. Then the explanation. When we are explaining the formation, we have to consider all these processes. That is, white light, we have to consider white light and water droplet. Then that water droplet behaves like a prism. When the white light entering into that water droplet, it undergoes refraction along with the dispersion. Then it undergoes internal reflection. Again, it undergoes refraction and emerges out.